What's going on? This is James King Baskin, OutSource Kings, and we are here with the man, Underdog Empowerment. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Who are you, and what's the company that you're running?
Dude, right on. Thanks for having me, man. I'm really excited to be here. Appreciate the opportunity. My name's Zachary Babcock. Most people just call me Zach, but yeah, I'm man, I got quite a story. We all do. Overcame doing a bunch of time in prison, man. Turned my life around to be a responsible father and a successful entrepreneur. Didn't know what the hell that looked like at the time. And just been grinding out ever since, man, and been able to launch a top 200 rated podcast called Underdog Empowerment. And now I help others become top 200 rated podcasters and rapidly grow their influence and income through it.
Awesome, man. And where are you from?
I'm out of here in St. Louis, Missouri, in the middle of nowhere. But hey, Blues just won the cup last night, so we're all good.
I was going to say Stanley Cup winners last night, so that's awesome. So I've done some homework on you. I've been digging through YouTube. I've obviously listened to your podcast. Been looking at you on social media. Met you at an event as well. And I got to know, how did all of this start? Underdog Empowerment, the whole movement. How did it all start?
I love this question, the origin story, right? Man. Dude, so when I got out of prison in October 2nd, 2014, I came home. I did 4 years flat the first time, got out for 2 years, and then I went back for 8 months, and that was 20 days before my twin sons were born. And so that was like the gut check, the rock bottom moment where I was like, man, I'm turning my life around. So I came home, and I couldn't get a job anywhere. I was a convicted felon. I've always been an entrepreneur at heart anyways. So I got into entrepreneurship. Did network marketing for 2 years. At the time, you couldn't even scare me off with the word pyramid scheme. But it just wasn't my thing. And then I moved on. And when I got into actual entrepreneurship, I felt like, and I didn't feel like it was the truth, anytime I tried to connect with other entrepreneurs and collaborate, nobody was taking me seriously. I was just some ex-convict turned entrepreneur afterthought that nobody would give any time of the day to. I was that underdog. Everybody was counting me out, saying I wasn't going to be able to have the success that I wanted to have in my life. So it was just out of frustration and out of sheer determination to not only just prove. It used to be strictly out of proving those people wrong, because I was like, man, I'm going to prove them wrong. But now it's kind of moved into, proving myself right and realizing that I don't have anything to prove to anybody but myself. But at the time, though, I used that as a lot of motivation to prove them wrong. And so I launched a podcast, and I wanted to give that voice to the underdog entrepreneur. Obviously not every underdog entrepreneur has been through prison, but anybody that has a grandiose vision, all the odds stacked against them, everybody counting them out, even laughing at them, but they're fully committed to leveling up, to winning, to getting the respect that they deserve. I wanted to provide the best place, for the best resource for people to come and tune in and learn. And, I share on there like, hey, man, I don't have all the answers and never will. And never will I pretend to be some fake guru at the top of the mountain that has life figured out, because none of us do. But I'm willing to stick my neck out on the line every single day, document what I do learn, share what I do know, and bring the people that do have a lot of the answers that we're seeking to the show and share with everybody else.
That's awesome, man. And now I do know a little bit of one of the stories that kind of took you to the next level. You had to you had to spend some money to get to where you're at now, and leverage some stuff and really take a huge leap to propel yourself. You mind talking about some of that stuff? Cost?
Yeah, dude. So this is funny. So at the time, this was last year, I hooked up with two guys that were legit, man. They had some really awesome results as far as they had a program for lead generation, customer acquisition, and scaling a business. And I had the podcast rolling. I became a top 200 rated podcaster in the first week, started interviewing celebrities right out the gate, started, opportunities for paid speaking gigs, and affiliate JV deals were opening up. But I still didn't have my message down as far as what I could offer my own product and service. And I was still all over the place and didn't even know what the heck I was doing. And I hooked up with these guys and wanted to bring this program to my audience. He had a program that did over 20 million in revenues and had over 1,000 successful graduates. And so we put that together with me being like the face. However, Can you cuss on here? Yeah, I was broke as fuck at the time. And I felt like a maggot, man. I felt like one of those fake gurus taking pictures in front of random Lamborghinis, promising you $1 million overnight and don't have nothing in the process and can't deliver on the results. And it was just out of alignment with my integrity. Even though those results were good for what they did, here's the thing. I was trying to achieve something by teaching it, and that, to me, that's just ass backwards. So I decided to pull the plug on that program, and I called myself out. I made a social post on social media on Facebook and said, hey, I'm going back to the drawing board. I'm no longer offering this program. The reason why is because I feel out of alignment. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to figure it out. And it took, like you mentioned, as far as investing into the right mastermind, the right people. I blew a lot of money investing into people that didn't know what the hell they were doing. But I'm grateful for that, because now I know when to make good investments, and I can tell if somebody knows their stuff now. And by getting around the right people and the right mastermind, the people that have already, I looked at the people that already have what I want, and then I became their student. And that, to me, is like the biggest shortcut anybody can make in life, period. Find somebody that already has what you want, become their student, whether you got to pay them money, whether you got to barter services, whether you got to figure out a way to add, like work for them for free, whatever you got to do, man, become their student. And there is, I don't believe in shortcuts in life, because everything's going to take work and you're still going to have to do the work, but that's the fastest track there, in my opinion.
Man, it's probably been, I probably hear that once or twice a year too. I listen to, all this different stuff online. I watch all these videos on YouTube, and you see all these people and they're just loud. That's all it is they're loud. But like, they never talk about like the investment side that it takes. And by investment, we're talking time and money. And you just hit on the head, man. Becoming someone's student with what you want. And it even costs money to be their student. Like, that's awesome. I remember I was listening to someone that said that they, Scooter Braun, obviously you've heard of Scooter Braun. I'm not sure if you've heard of him or not, but he's the one that found Justin Bieber basically on a street corner just singing. And now he manages Ariana Grande now, Justin Bieber, and the whole 9 yards. And literally someone had called into a podcast that he was on, and they're like, hey, is this Scooter? He's like, yeah. It's like, look, man, I'm in the LA area. I will literally pay you to be my teacher. And he was like, whoa. And you could tell that like he respected it. He was like, get in contact with my people. We can set something up. And that's kind of like what you're talking about. Like, even if it takes money to learn from someone, it's investing in yourself. So thank you for that, dude. I got like goosebumps hearing that, dude. I'm like, dude, no one talks about that, dude. No one ever talks about that stuff.
Right on, bro.
And then what has the growth been like for you so far?
Dude, so here's the thing, man. This is my true, honest belief, and I believe in telling people, speaking, doing actions that are good for people, and a lot of times doing what's good for someone isn't going to make them happy. Making someone happy versus doing good for them can be they're two totally separate things. And what I mean by that, if you give a kid candy all the time, you're going to make that kid happy, but is that doing good for that kid? That kid could develop diabetes or become obese and get made fun of in school, or so it's not good. So here's the deal, man. Entrepreneurship, I literally believe that you had to be batshit crazy to be in entrepreneurship, like 110%, because I don't care, man, the fake gurus out there say like it's going to be hard, it's going to be tough, you're going to get way more no's and have way more L's and face so much more resistance than you probably have ever faced in your life. There's gonna be so many points where you're gonna feel like, oh my God, I don't think I can keep going forward. You're going to ram your face into a brick wall. Dude, it's not been, at least for my experience, it's not been easy by any shape or form. I literally just broke through I cracked the online making money code just back in March. Before March, dude, I went years, almost 4.5 years of shit, like, making $200 to my best month after leaving network marketing. I made almost $2,000 a month in network marketing. I did that in my first 6 months because I was hungry coming out the gate, right? But I lost my passion for it. But after leaving network marketing in the very beginning of 2017 and getting into building my own business, the highest month I had was one time was $1,200, and that was through my affiliate income that I was making with a bunch of different companies and whatnot. But mainly I was making like $100 to $400 a month, scraping by, barely getting by. It was tough, man. And there were so many times where I was like, man, is this ever going to work? Is this ever going to happen? And I was like starting to almost self-doubt. And like I would have moments where I would have that self-doubt get into my head, but then I'm like, no, I don't care what it takes. I'm gonna figure this out. I know other people are doing it. I could do it. You know, I'd snap back into that certainty mode, into that belief mode. But it was tough, man. But when I did break through though, back in March, hit 11K in March, the following month hit over 23K, following month close to 50, you know, and it's cool now. The growth is explosive now. And now I'm facing
Frozen.
but it's like a different
Hey there, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yep. All good.
Yep. I apologize about that.
Oh, dude, all good. And so you said you had
I can
March.
come back in though.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. It was like, I don't know where it cut out yet, but
11K in March, and basically that growth, and now you hit 50K.
Yeah, and so it was like, you know, now I'm facing a different set of problems as far as like, you know, getting the systems dialed in and management and things of that nature. But it took a long time to break the cash flow code, and then obviously you just keep getting faced with another set of problems. That's what we are as entrepreneurs. We solve problems. That's the only way we get paid. We find a problem in the marketplace and we figure out a way to solve it, offer a better solution that provides value to our customers. So it's been a journey, man. I love every minute of it, man, because it really builds a lot of character, and you really do got to be batshit crazy to make this stuff happen.
Yep. And that's kind of going to go into my next question. A lot of questions sometimes I'll just base around what you'll say, and that goes back to what I asked you. Do you think you would have been able to hit that had you not discovered those two guys that you paid money and invested in yourself?
Yeah, I would have been able to, but it probably would have took me 10 to 20 years to do that.
Honest man. That's what it's supposed to be. It takes 20 years, man. You're supposed to just work hard, man.
Yeah, screw that. Why not? Money you could get back any time, man. Invest the money in somebody that has it, gain the knowledge, gain that shortcut so you can avoid all the stupid mistakes you're going to make in the process and get there. You're still going to have to do the work. You're still going to run into things, but man, it was the smartest decision I ever made, was to find mentorship.
Absolutely. And if you could say something to yourself, like, I guess when you first were starting out, what would you say to yourself? Like the one thing you would say to yourself?
You know, I love this question, and I swear to God, it's the same exact question I ask at the end of every single episode on Underdog Empowerment. I always say, if you can go back to the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, give yourself one piece of advice, not shit that you regret, but advice as in that would give you a leg up or a head start as an underdog entrepreneur, what would that piece of advice be? And my answer to that question is legit: find a mentor, find somebody that has what you want, and become their student. But since we kind of already covered that, would definitely be my first thing. But another one would be to kind of this is going to be this is fun. This is going to be a little crazy, but to not take Gary Vee's advice as far as being patient. And who opened me up to this? I listened to this through Brad Lee on Dropping Bombs podcast. I went on his podcast episode and we talked about it. And if you Google the word patience, just Google the word patience and see what it says. And it talks about being okay with being uncomfortable and suffering or whatnot. And see, the thing with entrepreneurship or with anything in goals that moves the needle forward is acting with a sense of urgency and acting with, so obviously you're going to have to you're going to have to understand that it's going to take time to actually build. It's going to take years to build to get there, but don't have patience, move with urgency and build that shit. Now, I'm also going to contradict myself here at the same time. I read this book right here, The One Thing. And
Gary Keller?
Yeah, dude, it's been one of the best productivity mindset books I've ever read. But I used to be the guy who's like that preached like you got to grind 24/7, grind, and work yourself to the bone. And fuck that, dude. I don't do that anymore, man. I enjoy the journey and I enjoy my family. I got young kids and a family that I enjoy. I do grind when it's grind time. I go hard and I get things done. But I've learned to unplug and recharge the batteries consistently, and I stopped putting my business before everything else. He gave the example in there, and I'm going to wrap it up here with this answer because it's kind of long-winded. I apologize, but he gave that example in there where he's juggling the balls. And he said, imagine each ball that you're juggling is a different aspect of your life. Like one ball is business and one is relationships and one is your health and so on. And he said, now imagine each of those balls are glass balls, except for the business is a rubber ball. So if you drop that, it could bounce back up. You could pick that up at any time. However, the glass balls, if you drop those, they might get scuffed or they can completely shatter, like your health. If you don't take care of your health, boom, and you screw yourself over in health, you don't have a business. It doesn't matter. Money can't buy you back the health. So I used to put business before everything else, and now my health becomes before everything, and then my relationships with my family and stuff, because that's more important to me, and then my business. And my business is very important, but I just got the hierarchy, different priorities now.
Absolutely, man. And that's probably what I respect about you. And with the business, without the business, everything else doesn't happen. Family, health, everything. But without family and health, there is no business. And that's that's the foundation. And speaking of your business, that actually goes into the question I wanted to ask. Anyone that's out there that watches this, sees this, obviously you got a good background of what Zach does, podcast. How can anyone get started with you? Like very day one, like if they're not sure if they're like a good fit, say, or if they do want to get started, how can they get started?
No doubt. I appreciate that. Yeah, man. So I don't always, it's not always open. Like I run programs and they're very limited. I do 10 people at a time, and it's not all the time where I'll get people started with a podcast, and it comes with a fully guarantee. We'll make you a top 200 rated podcaster in 5 weeks or less. Everybody that's launched a podcast with us has done it in 48 hours or less. And then we also show you how to interview celebrities consistently, like I do, how to grow your downloads on your podcast at least by 1,000 new ones each and every month, growing your reach astronomically, and how to earn at least $1,000 directly from your podcast. And that's not including anything else that you sell outside of it. But that program is really scarce. We run it, every so often. I'm kind of moving more towards just niching down with loan officers, just because it's a really great fit for those people. It's a really great fit for any entrepreneur if you're doing any type of networking, and networking is all business, honestly. But we do have a podcast production company. So if you have a podcast and you're an entrepreneur and you want to get more things done, you want to focus on the marketing, on the money-making activities, and not have to edit your episode, then upload it to Libsyn, to your hosting service to put it out, then create the show notes and upload that to your website, and then create the promotional emails, the social media sharing images, all that stuff that goes into producing a podcast that takes hours. We could take over that for you right away. So you can always reach out to me for that. And then, if you're looking to start a podcast, just, kind of follow me or whatnot. Whenever I do run those offers, that would be a chance to get in. I appreciate you asking too, man.
Absolutely, man. And that actually, you talked a little bit about one of the industries, and I'm actually going to take it just a little bit of a slight curve and say, what are some of the unique podcasts that you've helped with, like unique ones that most people wouldn't even think of as a podcast?
Yeah. So a couple of them, honestly. One that we just launched today called the Charlotte Real Estate Buzz, and that's with John Smith, and he's a loan officer as well. That's in that specific niche, and those are kind of more people I'm trying to lean towards, because the way he explained it to me, he said, man, us loan officers, we're tired of feeling like leeches. We're tired of trying to do a deal with a real estate agent and then they're waving it in front of us, making us beg for the deal. We want to be the ones with the power. We want to be the ones that they reach out to. And he said, man, I did the episode with a real estate agent that I was trying to get a deal with. He kept saying, no, 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 no. I asked him to come on my podcast. He was like, yes, right away. He said, we did the podcast. We were best friends by the end of the podcast. I got the deal done. And what was even more crazy is that we did a Facebook Live. He did it. He broadcasted it too. He said by the end of it, all of his real estate agent friends were reaching out to me, sending me friend requests. And now my pipeline is full of leads, of hot leads, of more people. It's like, this is a great tool for me to go in there and just create the relationship from a place of non-neediness right out the gate. And I was like, man, I need to work with more loan officers because this is a podcast is a perfect tool for that. But that's one. Another one, Carlos Redlick with the Copy Closer podcast, all about copywriting and closing deals. I like his unique angle because he talks about a lot of copywriters can write that great copy, but they don't know shit about sales and closing the deal. And that's why they don't have a lot of clients because they get on the phone and then they end up blowing it. So his podcast hits it from both angles. It's like the complete package. He's a top-rated podcaster. Man, we done stuff in almost every single niche you could think of. We got people in the self-help space helping you crush addictions in 84 days or less with Shannon Bailey, the addiction crusher. Man, I could go on, but yeah, it's something. It's really cool, man, to help work with those people that have a message that they want to put out there and they just don't have the audience and they want to blow it up and have a bigger audience aware of what exactly they offer and the solutions they provide.
For sure, and I know obviously we each have 24 hours in the day, and obviously you have a bunch of students that I see them ranking and everything like that in their podcast. Besides your students, who are you listening to podcast wise outside of your students?
Yeah, man, big guy, my favorite, Andy Frisilla. And I guess there's a few biases there. And the reason why, one, he's from St. Louis and I'm from St. Louis. So we literally live 15 minutes away from each other. We both grew up here. I've been using, though, his products before I even knew who he was, Supplement Superstores. He owns he created the Supplement Superstores and has the first form protein. So I've been using his products, which are top-notch. And the reason why they're top-notch because they're low temperature processed protein. And if it's high temperature processed, the protein, it'll say it has like 30 grams of protein, but it really only has like 3 because the heat takes away from it. But so it's got top of the line products. So, and then I got to learn about him. And then if you listen to his podcast, it's just, he was such a perfect fit for my show because he speaks directly to like that alpha male type, that alpha male entrepreneur type. Like, I don't care what you throw at me, I'm going to dominate, And so he was number one guest I wanted to get on my podcast for a long time, just because I love his style and what he's been able to create. I mean, he makes over 200 million a year in revenues. But yeah, I finally got to land that in-person interview with him. That's one of the guys for sure. And another one I really like to listen to is Pat Flynn with the Smart Passive Income podcast. He's like the polar opposite of Andy Frisilla because he's like the nerdy techie guy or whatever. But he's really, really smart, man, and puts out a lot of great content as well.
That's awesome, man. And I'm actually going to take it back to something that we taking it back to the prison term, and this is going to kind of like segue into probably. Obviously, I don't have any kids, nothing like that. But the one thing when I see someone online, and I could take shots at whoever, you see all those like motivational people, and it's like, where's their family? Where's the family? Like, they're so loud and proud, and it's like, you don't even know if they're married, and you Google who they are, and it's like married, 5 kids, and it's like, dude, you never even showed them off once. And I see you on social media, and it's like, wherever I see you, it's like, there's your rib, there's your wife, right beside you. And then it's like, there's the kids. And I'm going to take it there about the decision you made before going to the prison. I know I just watched this video just yesterday, like this, you're finding out your wife is, or your girlfriend at the time is pregnant with twins, and that decision you're making as you're about ready to go away for, I think it was 8 months at the time. I want you to talk about that moment, and I think I did a pretty good job of bringing us right there, and I want to hear that feeling.
Yeah, dude, I love that question. I've talked about it a lot, but it's such a great point to make. And a lot, I'm so grateful that I went through all that shit because a lot of people, some people will be like, what? And those crazy, like adverse situations build character, man. They build strength and I've gained strength from them. Really grateful for it. Like, so I always like to talk about that because for anybody, because we all go through real adverse situations, whether just because I went to prison doesn't mean that that's any more intense or crazy than what you're going through. You might be going through a breakup with your wife that you've been married to for the last 10, 15 years or so. And that could be just as deep as me going through prison, you know, because you had that connection, you know, so who's to say what's worse and whatnot. But those situations, so they build character. And what happened, man, is I had gotten out of prison after doing 4 years flat, got a job at a bar and grill as a cook under the table paying because it's hard to get a job as a convicted felon. And then I got a job at a clothing store doing what I love. I love communicating with people and helping solve problems for people. Got the raise. And then I put in my 2 weeks at the bar and grill where I had stability. And then boom, 2 days later, they fired me because they found out I was a convicted felon, even though I sold 3,000, the whole store did 9,000. So instead of keeping my chin up and looking for other opportunity, I decided to throw a pity party. I thought that my past was always going to come back to haunt me. I said, poor me, whatever. It was being a little chump. And I decided to become an alcoholic. And during that time, I got a DWI, found out we were having a kid, then found out it was twins. And then I ended up going back to prison. And that was 20 days before my twin sons were born. And I woke up, lights were bright, banging headache. You know, back was hurting because I was sleeping on a bunk with no mattress, just plain metal. And I realized I was in jail. I'm like, holy shit, last night could have not been good. And I'm calling up Stephanie. I'm like, hey, come get me. She's like, okay. Waited about an hour or two. Who knew how long it was? Didn't have a clock. And I call her back and I was like, come and get me. She's like, well, I can't come and get you. I was like, what do you mean? We'll make it happen. Whatever it is, we'll pay it. Just we'll get it taken care of. Come get me out of here. She's like, I can't come get you out. You got a parole hold. They're sending you back to prison. And in that moment, that was like the sickest, darkest feeling I've ever felt in my life because I grew up without a father, and all I wanted one thing I really wanted growing up was to be the father I didn't have. And now I'm getting ready to miss out on that real special moment. And it hit me so hard, but at the same time, it was so painful that it was enough to get me to change my entire perception and paradigm on life. And it was enough to get me to say enough. It was my rock bottom moment. It was like, I can't do this anymore. It's either do this for the rest of my life or take complete responsibility for everything wrong and everything right in my life and do whatever the fuck I got to do to get out and be a responsible father and happy and successful. I didn't even know what happy and success looked like at the time. Didn't even know when I was coming home because I knew I had a year and a half left on parole until my time was up, but they could have held me anywhere from 6 months to the year and a half. And on top of that, I didn't know how I was going to be able to provide for them when I came home because I was a convicted felon, but I didn't need to know none of that stuff. I had my reasons why I was doing it. It was a strong enough reasons why I had to do what I had to do. And I made that decision right then and there. I said, I don't care how long they hold me for. I'm going to get back out and I'm going to be in my kid's life. I'm going to be the father that I didn't have growing up. And that's what drove me. And that was like my why and my purpose starting out. And it still is, but it's grown and evolved into so much more since then. But that was like my main driver starting out.
Awesome, man. Thank you. I felt like I was there, and I'm going to take it there a little bit deeper also. While you were in there for 8 months, any books that you were reading, anything that you were just digesting? Because obviously there's no place you can go. You're in there, you know?
You know, I say I have no regrets in life, but I swear to God, I think about this a lot. If I could go back in time, I would have read books in prison. I didn't read at the time. It's crazy. And I had all the time in the world, but I wasn't even turned on to personal development. I actually got turned on to books and personal development and network marketing, but I was the kid that grew up. I quit going to school in 3rd grade. Got kicked out by 5th grade and completely quit going by the time I was, 16 and stuff, just because I could never pay attention. I didn't like none of the stuff they were teaching me there. But self-help, though, or not just self-help, but like stuff that I'm interested in that can help me become a better me. Dude, I could get focused on that all day. I got ADD, ADHD, ABCD, all that shit, man. But I could focus on, stuff that interests me. But I did read one book while I was in there, and I got it here too. It was The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. that book is outlawed in prison. You're not even supposed to have that book. We had it though. A guy had it. And just by the guy saying they had a copy and that we weren't supposed to have it made me want to read it. and so, and so I read that one book in there and I was blown away, dude. And I took notes on everything. And then when I got a cell search, they took it all and like, you're not even supposed to have this. Like, I didn't know it was banned in here. I just had the book or whatever. But yeah, man, that's the only book I got to read in there. I should have kept going though. But now I'm like a book fanatic. I don't overdo it. Like I'll read like one book, maybe 2 books a month at tops. That's like my limit. But I like to read it though and take notes and like implement. I don't like to just read it just to read it. You know what I mean?
Yep, I do, man. And it's crazy. You know, so many people just say, you know, like they think that they're smarter by reading bunches of books, and they think that they're more successful when they dress up. And all of it is just bullshit we tell ourselves. Like, it's like, I don't know if you've ever put on a suit and tie and have had this experience, but you see someone that's not dressed up, maybe like a homeless person. And for me, I'm just being 100% honest with you. I'll look at them differently. I won't say anything, but then I'd be like, I know who I am and what I've done in my past also. I have a past story also. And it's like, man, who am I to judge, you know? Freaking suit. And it's like, I've never once been like, your bum, get a job or something like that. Or like some person like that. I'm just like, but it like, books the same way. Like I got freaking whole bunch of them behind me, and I guarantee I probably have like only read like 1/10 of them. And in the moment, I'm like, if I buy this, this will fix this situation. Avoidance rather than actually going through it.
Right.
It's kind of funny because you talked about some of that stuff with you know, with more knowledge or being patient and not going through it. And life gives us a hand that we're dealt. You know, I'll say this, and I'm actually going to go to the next question. You know, people all over the world are dealt hands, you know, that I would never want to have. I would take my problems in a heartbeat over the hand that some of these people are dealt. And you don't see them make a Facebook post, you know, oh, so sad, you know, today got, you know, had to get by on 10 cents and a bag of rice to last me a month. You know, we don't see that on social media, and yet we see so many privileged problems, I would say, and just like people that are, you know, not grateful. Sorry, I went a little side direction there, but that being said, speaking of success, family, getting out, leading up probably to I'm just letting you know, it's my number one question. I'm building it up, man. How has your family been there for you on this journey, the journey of success, and what has your success allowed you to do for them and provide?
I love that question, man. I have never been asked that, and that's pretty cool. Dude, so like the family I have is legit my wife and my kids. Like all my mom, dad, and my sister are all dead. My dad died when I was 7. My sister died when I was in prison when I was 21, and my mom died right after I got out of prison at 25 or 26. And so I don't have any of the immediate family that I grew up with. But I got my new family now, my new immediate family, my wife and my kids. I do have other family members, but we've never and I love them and we got a great relationship, but I only see them for Christmas and for Thanksgiving, and if that nowadays, but that's how it's always been. I didn't always see them a whole lot. So my family, like my wife, dude, like, and we've had our hell of a shit show, dude. Like we've went at it. We've like had dark times, you know, and I'm not afraid to share that. But she stuck with me through a lot of the dark times, and she stuck with me through all this time of not making money, trying to figure this shit out. And, you know, so that's really awesome. And now she helps me build my company, my production company, because when it comes to organization or analytics or numbers and all that shit, I will ram my face into a brick wall because that's just not my thing. I'm the creative guy with the ideas and really good at sales and marketing. But when it comes to like structure and like hiring and like building out processes and standard operating procedures and tracking numbers and finance and stuff, oh my God, it makes me want to throw up just thinking about it. But that's where she's strong at. So, you know, we're building the company now together, and we got a lot more time to spend with our, You know, the biggest accomplishment was last month, man, when I was able to retire her completely from the 9 to 5 and come, you know, work with me to do this company. We work from home and have, you know, we don't answer to no one. That was really fucking awesome.
That is awesome, man. So, and you've been able, I see, also to take some trips with your kids. You know, we've been some trips in the past year. I mean, we're in June now, and so it's 6 months. I know for a fact you've been on multiple trips for the family. Where have been some trips you've been on with the family so far?
We're going down to Florida again in August. It's kind of crazy because Lindley was born in October, so she'll be like right around 9 months. So he's kind of young, but we've been to Florida like 6 or 7 times now altogether as a family, and that's like kind of our little spot, you know, because you know you got Disney World to take them to, and then the beach and stuff. Love going down there with them, but we also, you know, we've done like Arizona. Honestly, with the family, it's with the kids. A lot of times it's Florida, but you know, me and Stephanie have been able to go to some other places as well. It's just, you know, really blessed to be able to do that. You know, 5 years ago, I was sitting in a prison cell, not even imagining none of that shit was possible. You know.
Yep. And it's it gives me goosebumps, man. It's just it's wild, you know. It's wild to hear the story of just even that in such a condensed period, and just taking action for both yourself first, and then obviously for your health and for the family. And it's just incredible, the story. And I'm gonna take us home here real quick, and I'm gonna lead back into what this all started with, and the underdog empowerment, this mindset of, you know, you're down and out, you can't continue. Anyone thinking about working with you or hiring you, or where to find you, what would you say to them?
I really do appreciate that, man. Honestly, I always like to build the relationship first and lead with value. So, you know, if you enjoyed this interview and would like to learn more, man, I'm really passionate about the podcast. It's Underdog Empowerment. You can go on underdogempowerment.com, and on the front page, I have a subscribe button for all the different podcast platforms that it's on, iTunes, Google Play, whatever. And check out the podcast and start there. And then if you like that and you want to take it a step further, there's plenty of ways to either join my email list or connect with me on Facebook or wherever you like to take the relationship forward from there.
Awesome. And I'm going to holler at you afterwards, and I'm going to end the recording in just a second, but I want to say thank you again for doing this. Very much appreciate it. And it was great having you on here.
Dude, this was awesome, man. You're natural at this. I don't know how long you've been doing interviews, man, but this is pretty awesome. And I appreciate you having me on here, bro.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thank you again.